Welcome back to SI Now, powered by Ford. I'm Maggie Gray. My next guest just finished his second year with the Houston Rockets. Jeremy Lin is here. Before we get to basketball, thanks so much for being here. The big news of the day is that Derek Fisher has just become the new head coach of the New York Knicks, a team that you played for. Do you like the hire?
Yeah, I think it's a good move. I think it fits everything from what I've been reading, everything that Phil Jackson's been looking for, and I think there's just a trend of hiring coaches with, not as much coaching experience, but maybe more like leadership qualities and proven players.
Would you want to play for a guy like that? Maybe someone who just retired, in Derek Fisher's case, 9 days ago?
Yeah, I think that's always appealing to me as a player, just because, playing for someone for sure they have that player perspective. They were just in the same position that we were in, and so there's definitely that type of relatability.
You played against Derek Fisher this season. What was he like playing against? And, did you ever see that sort of intensity in his eye that he was a player coach on the court?
Yeah, well, I think he's just a natural leader. You just see the way that he commands his teams. Even growing up, watching him when he was playing for the Lakers, and what he did for the Players Union, just always being in a leadership position, it just seemed natural to him. It seemed like something he was kind of destined to do. I definitely feel like it's a good move.
People always say point guards would make the best coaches. You are one. Is that overstated, or do you think that's accurate?
I do think I think point guards have an advantage. I think naturally our job is to be able to manage all the players and to be able to manage egos and to be able to make sure that we're trying to keep everybody happy. And that's just part of being a leader, being able to delegate and being able to put people in positions to give them a chance to succeed. So I think he'll make a great coach.
Is there another player who's still active who you think, okay, I could see them retiring and going straight into coaching?
I think Chris Paul. I think that one's pretty obvious, just because when he's on the floor, he's always telling people what to do, where to go, and very knowledgeable, very good player, obviously.
From the player's point of view, how much does the coach of the team matter in terms of if you're a free agent, even if you're a restricted free agent, how much does that sway your decision?
I think it's a huge factor, just because when you go into any situation, I think every player, if you've been around long enough, has played for a coach that they love and a coach that maybe they don't want to play for. And, it's night and day between those type of experiences. And so I think a big part is looking at the system and their role and what the coach is gonna do with them as a player.
Looking at this situation we have right here in New York, do you think that having Derek Fisher as the head coach of the Knicks will sway Carmelo Anthony either way, whether to stay or whether to leave?
I personally have no idea. I think from my perspective, I just think everybody respects Derek Fisher. I think we've seen what he's done, and we've all been, maybe not a fan, but we've all respected his career, and we think, and I definitely respect everything he's done over the course of the years, and so I think it'll probably help for sure, but I can't say, I can't speak for anybody.
Give us the X's and O's. Running the triangle offense, if you've run it, is that a good system for Carmelo Anthony if you have the right point guard?
Yeah, I think it's a proven system. It's a system that's had a lot of success, and I think now it's a matter of surrounding him with the right pieces and the right types of players, and I think they did that in the past with Chicago and with LA, and they had a lot of success.
How much is free agency, even if it's restricted in your sense, how much do players look forward to that?
I think it depends. I think for me, actually, when I went through it was really stressful, because it's just like I have no idea what's going to happen, and I think restricted is different than unrestricted. The last time I was an unrestricted free agent, I was just trying to make it in the NBA.
Right.
So
that was before the Lin SINowLIVE hit.
And that was pretty stressful too. So my free agency experiences haven't been great, but I think a lot of players do look forward to it just because they have control over kind of their destiny, and they get to kind of pick and choose and see who's really interested.
Does that whole idea of being sought after, is there something to that?
Oh, for sure. I think it's kind of like when you're a senior in high school and you go on all these recruiting trips and they try to treat you like a king and show you the, all the great things and pamper you a little bit. And so I think everybody wants to have that feeling that they're wanted.
Yeah. You've played with two now pure scorers that have been incredibly talented, Carmelo Anthony and James Harden. Who is the better pure scorer?
Pure scorer, I think Carmelo is just a pure scorer. I think if you stack up all the players in the NBA and you have them all play one-on-one, I think he's top one or top two. I don't think I've seen anybody score the ball the way he does. And I think James is a little definitely different of a player. I think he's also, he'll probably be more in a pick and roll situation and put him in those situations in transition. And Melo's definitely just score on the block, score mid-post ISOs, scores. He can set the pick, and so they're definitely different.
So you said top one or two. Who's the other one?
I would say it's either him or Durant that I've seen in terms of pure scoring ability.
Man, we got to get that together. A one-on-one between all the best players in the league.
That would be pretty awesome. I think that would be a popular hit on TV.
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be viral. The Rockets are championship. I mean, you guys are right there. What do you think the team needs? Do you need another big name, or do you need more role players to fill the roster out?
I don't think that we necessarily need a big name, but I think another big name could only help. I think for us, I think we need another year together. It's tough to go through, to win it all in your first year, and I think the only team that I can think of that did that was the Boston Celtics when they threw together Ray Allen, Paul Pierce, and Kevin Garnett. But I think they were also at different stages in their careers, and of all the playoff teams, we were the youngest one this year, and so I just think we need some more experience, a little more time together, and I think a lot of things will continue to improve.
So chemistry between Dwight and James, or?
I think everybody.
Everybody? Okay.
I think we just have to figure out, even between us and the coaches and the system, and just like buying into it and figuring out all the nuances of it. You look at San Antonio and what they're able to do year after year, and that's a big part of it is just familiarity and things like that.
Considering the long odds that you overcame to get to where you are, you hear trade rumors, you hear your name in headlines. I mean, does it affect you? Do you take it personally?
At this point, no. I think I've been through a lot of rumors in terms of like, oh, they're going to cut you and this and that, and that's 10 times worse than, oh, you might get traded, and so definitely it is tough sometimes when you're hearing trade rumors and it's like, oh, I might have to pick my bags up and leave tomorrow, but I still know, like, I'm in the NBA, I'm doing what I love to do, this is my dream job, and I still get a chance to play versus, when I was younger, it was kind of like, oh, am I going to be able to play anymore? Like, is this viable?
Yeah, Daryl Morey, the general manager for the Rockets, he's developed this reputation of pulling off trades, signing guys without the public having any idea. For the most part, we're left on this side of the table pretty stunned. Mm-hmm. Does that keep the players on their toes?
Yeah, I mean, I think we know, we know how the Rockets organization is, and I think he's done a great job. He's a tremendous general manager, and I think part of that is a high number of transactions, and so we understand that's part of his philosophy or his style.
So if you were traded, would you be shocked?
No, I wouldn't be shocked. I think I've been in a lot of trade rumors, so I wouldn't be shocked.
Might put a little bit of a damper on your off season, though, right? With these day-to-day, are you constantly keeping track of it, or you try to leave it aside?
I leave it aside. I think at this point, I'm entering my 5th year, and I think every year I get a little bit better about just trusting God with the whole situation and leaving it to Him.
Who do you think feels more pressure to bring the Rockets a championship, Dwight or James?
I'd probably say Dwight. Probably. I don't know, to be honest, because it's not really something I can quantify, but I would say Dwight probably feels it a little more just because he's been around a little longer, and also because that's kind of what he's been going after, and from Orlando to LA to Houston, and that's all he's really been talking about. I think James is still trying to figure out what it's like to be a superstar in this league and getting acclimated to being one of the elite players, but one thing I can say is they're both extremely committed to winning a championship, and they both really, really want one.
They both just made NBA first team, and we hear from people that say in order for Dwight to be really successful, he's got to be completely comfortable. Everything about the situation. I mean, have you found that now being a teammate of his?
Yeah, I think that's true for everybody. But I do think he definitely needs to feel comfortable. He definitely needs to feel involved, and part of the balance that we have is we have these two amazing players, and it's like, how do we make sure that we keep both of them going at the same time, versus, okay, it's your turn and now it's your turn, but instead working it in and just letting it flow and be natural.
Yeah, I just can't help but think it's almost what the Knicks were going through here when you had Carmelo and Amari. They were trying to make it work,
right,
and now trying to make it work with these two superstars. I want to get your thoughts on the finals that are going on right now. Who do you have?
I think it's going to be a long series, but if I were to guess, I probably think Miami would win.
Okay.
They've done it 2 times in a row, and I think out of all the players, they have the best one in the series, and most of the time, I think the team with the best player usually wins.
Is there something that you don't realize about LeBron's game until you're actually out on the court with him?
Yeah, I think his passing ability. People are like, "Oh, he's a great passer," but it's not until you actually see it and appreciate, the angles, the types of passes that he's able to make. It might look easy or normal on TV, but once you're kind of there and you're playing defense against him, it's like, wow, I did not see that pass coming.
Unfortunately, probably the next day when you're reviewing the film, too, you're like, I didn't see that pass coming.
Yeah, exactly.
With the coaches. Okay, we know that you are a really big sneakerhead, right? You must have a huge shoe collection. So we thought it'd be fun to give you a little sneaker quiz. You got the Ivy League background. We figured we got to take you to school at some point, right? So we're going to show you a sneaker. We're going to ask you to name who is the famous person who wears this sneaker. Okay? Jeremy Lin, you ready for our sneaker quiz?
I'm gonna try, yeah.
Okay, let's show him the first sneaker. I wore my sneakers, by the way, in honor of Jeremy Lin. Okay, so there you go. First sneaker.
The pumps? That's old school.
Yeah, so who wore those famously in a 1991 dunk contest?
Shawn Kemp?
No, D. Brown. Very close, though. Let's move on to the next sneaker for Jeremy Lin in our SI sneaker quiz. Yeah, there's D. No look, pumping him up. Let's go to our next sneaker for Jeremy Lin. You recognize that shoe?
Jordan?
You got it. The Air Jordan 8s. They're the Bugs Bunnies. So, the famous person to wear them, Michael Jordan. Let's move on. Our third shoe for Jeremy Lin in our sneaker quiz. We think it's going okay. What do you think about
that? Are those the Kanye's?
You got it. The Red Octobers, worn by Kanye West. Let's move on. Famous sneakers worn by famous people.
Oh, Allen Iverson.
There, that was an easy one. We snuck that one in. Give you an easy one there. AI. Okay, next one.
These are the Adidas Superstars, but I don't know who. I think everyone wore these. I don't know.
This is just a famous rap trio.
Oh,
not basketball players.
Yeah, I don't know.
Run DMC.
Oh, okay.
They were the ones who made the shells. All right, Jeremy, we thought the sneaker quiz went okay. We just have to look back now that you're in New York. I mean, what kind of feelings does it bring to be back here in the city that really, put you on the map?
Yeah, I think one thing I'm always blown away by is when I'm walking around or at dinner or whatever, the people here are just still unbelievably nice and supportive, and it's just a great feeling, and it definitely brings back a lot of memories every time I come back. And obviously for me, I know it kind of changed my life in terms of the course of my career, and so always very, very grateful.
We have a couple photos, just moments from the Lin Sanity era, if we can call that 2 months of just craziness. We want you to just kind of take a look at these photos and tell us what was going through your mind when you saw both of them, or this is the couch, the famous couch.
Yeah. The first time I saw that, I was like, you have to be kidding me that I'm not going to fit on that. And Landry kind of told me you can crash here, but it's kind of small, and I just thought he was, I thought it was going to be small, but I didn't know it was going to be like really small.
Yes, that's essentially a love seat for a basketball player.
Pretty much.
And do you remember what that night was like? You literally had nowhere to go.
Yeah, I had been crashing with my brother and sister, and but then they had a bunch of people in town, so their couch was taken at the time, so we had just played in Boston and flown back, and then you know, Landry kind of just gave me a ride to his place, and I just crashed there. And the next day was the third game of our only back-to-back of the season, and so we were all really exhausted, and I just dropped my bag and just passed out.
I always wanted to know, so you slept on the couch. When Lin Sanity really hit, what was the first hotel room that the Knicks actually put you up in?
Oh, I just stayed. I just stayed on
really?
the couch. I stayed on the couch until I moved in, and got an apartment. I was waiting to get an apartment because I didn't know how much longer I'd be around, and I had heard rumors about them cutting me. So I just, you know, I stayed there for another maybe week or two, and kind of moved into my own place.
Okay, I always just assumed then that all of a sudden, once the Lin Sanity like craziness, that you got like the suite at the Four Seasons all of a sudden, but that didn't happen.
It was working for me, so I was like, you know, I'm not gonna change anything right now. I'm just stay here.
Okay, so we know that Landry Fields was the guy who offered you his couch. We have a photo of Landry taken recently from Sing Your Face Off. Yeah, what do you think of your friend there in the Nicki Minaj costume?
Oh, it's funny. I was talking to him about it. Actually, I've been working out with him the last couple of days while I'm here in New York. So, you know, we've been talking about that a little bit, and he said that was his worst performance of the ones that he's filmed so far, and he was kind of like, oh, that was probably my worst one. I was more excited about the other ones, but I've seen some of them, and oh my gosh, they're so funny.
Well, Jeremy, we have the Nicki Minaj costume. I'm just kidding, we don't.
Okay.
We wouldn't put you through that. Jeremy Lin, thank you so much for being here. It's been a real pleasure to meet you. You really did captivate this entire city. It will always be a memory that New Yorkers will hold very dear. So thanks so much, and good luck with the Rockets this season.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks so much. And thanks for watching SI Now, powered by Ford. On tomorrow's show, Super Bowl champion quarterback Eli Manning and NBA All-Star and your former teammate Amari Stoudemire is here. We'll see you at 1.